Hi, everyone. Each week, our team crowdsources some of the most interesting things that we've found across every corner of the internet. We're out there searching and scraping and looking for stuff. And we wanted to add a little more insight from our respective roles that sit across a lot of areas: creative, research, insights, strategy, planning, and digital. As curious thinkers, we want to take it that extra mile and really start to capture our perspectives on one of those most week's interesting topics that we're talking a lot about, and we call it the drop. So let's drop into our conversation today. I am joined by Len, who sits on our planning team. Hello, Len.
Hello, hello.
And hello, and Crystal, who sits on our creative team. Hello, hello.
Hi there.
And one thing that got us talking this week was a LinkedIn post from Allison Braley, and she is at Bain Capital Ventures, a partner over there, and I believe head of marketing. And she posted a little bit about how communications today isn't all just about cheerleading and optimism. There's some pessimism in there, some skepticism. And so I thought no better two people to join this call than our resident pessimist, Len, and our resident optimist, Crystal, to talk about this. So, Len, what is your take on this? Allison talks a little bit about how skepticism and I might be putting words in her mouth with pessimism, but I think she said it's essential to the role because it
hmm
makes you ask those questions. So talk to me a little bit about your childhood, how you grew up a pessimist. I'm kidding, but tell me a little bit about pessimism in your world and why it is a good thing.
Yeah, I was born this way, so we don't need to talk about my childhood. Um, Pessimism to me is really just a distrust of simplicity. So you're not going to say, great, whatever we do, this is going to be wonderful. No, there's lots of things that could go wrong. There's lots of things, here's somebody might not be interested in that message, or you might be totally off of strategy. There's so much stuff, there's so many routes of potentiality, and down each one of those routes, something terrible could happen from no one paying attention to someone actively being insulted by the communications that you're putting out there. You need to have someone to put the brakes on, look around, and say, guys, this might suck. How do we make it not suck? I mean, obviously, you have to make a choice at the end of the day. You have to do something, but doing the smart thing takes someone who has a little bit of a negative sense of what's going to happen or what could happen. Not to say you don't do work. Not doing work is a terrible idea. You just have to question it.
Hmm. Great. Thank you for that. Crystal, now to you. Bring some sunshine into Len's life, please. Help those clouds part a little bit.
Oh,
But
yeah.
talk to us a little bit about the optimism side of this.
I mean, I consider myself an optimism, tech optimist through and through. I think the thing that I liked about this article and my challenge to that is when you ask those hard questions up front, it's going to protect your brand and reputation, right? But like, is saying who won't like this strategy, is that pessimism or is that like some dose of healthy skepticism? So I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. I think that brand messaging should have skepticism, a healthy optimist dose of skepticism.
Yeah, agree. I think what I'm kind of hearing from both of you is I don't think it's degrees of skepticism or pessimism. I think it's kind of a nice fitting of those two together. And that's where brand messaging sits, right? It's neither, it's both. And that to me is what strategy is. Strategy is thinking about all the angles, all the good, all the bad, and those kind of coming together. And whether you call that pessimism, optimism, skepticism, I can't think of any other ism. Um, to me, it's just strategy. It's just being thoughtful and smart about what you're trying to communicate to your audience and the best way to communicate it. And Len, to your point, for it to not suck, right? And for it to resonate. So I tend to think it's probably like right in the middle of both, and you can have a healthy relationship between both of those
And
things.
Len, you said this
So
morning, what I love so much is like there are so many great problems to have, especially in our field of work, in creative, in strategy, when we're creating this for clients and
yeah, and you
strategy.
could see that as pessimistic or as optimistic,
Just how you
right?
look at it.
It's how you
Is
look
the
at it.
glass
Yeah,
full or empty?
yeah.
As a creative person, Crystal has to have optimism to create solutions, whereas I have to have pessimism in order to figure out what solution we need to have in the first place.
Yes. Agree. I totally agree. And that's the thing, right? We can have both. And I think a team needs a healthy dose of both, honestly. So keeps us honest. All right, Len, thank you. I hope you're able to find some light in your life today. Crystal, thank you. Skittles and rainbows forever. I love it. Look, she even has a cat on her lap, like a healthy
As
optimist, you
he's
know?
biting
Uh,
my wrist.
it's amazing. All right. Well, thank you both. Yeah, thank you both. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your Friday. Have a good weekend. Talk to you next time.
Bye, y'all.